And welcome to another talk from within the Nine-Sided Circle with me, Kyle, and the dog. I am one of your hosts, Mushtaq Ali Al Ansari, and
I'm Noor Kyle, so I'll be joining you all as well.
she is the main host, and will be doing most of the talking tonight.
Yeah, no. Yep, not this time.
Yeah, everybody thinks that I'm the host, but I'm just the front man.
I pull all the puppet strings.
Yep,
That's what
she
really
tells
goes
me
on
what
here.
to do.
Right.
So, before we start, let me invite you all, if you are watching this on YouTube, to, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, subscribe to our channel. It's a great channel. It's a lovely channel. It's a wonderful channel. And we would love to have you as a subscriber. And when you subscribe, hit the little bell down there so you can know every time that we upload something, which is admittedly not all that often, once or twice a week. And give us a thumbs up so that we can be catapulted up in the demographics of YouTube and all of that, and thousands of people will see us instead of tens of people. And that's all dependent on your likes. No pressure, though. No pressure. So tonight we are talking about something that is very important, and this is David's fault tonight. So we will blame him if I flub everything. Tonight we are talking about the difference between practice and training. Now, all of you who consider yourselves to be students of the Nine-Sided Circle, you have a practice. And that's one thing. And sometimes you get assignments, and those are training. The difference between practice and training is practice is ongoing, and it is not nearly as intense. Training is terminated, and it can be very intense. For instance, I go out and I practice with my sword every day. And I move lightly. I'm not doing much more than breaking a light sweat. Am I getting blood into my muscles and that sort of thing? But it's not intense. If I have a tournament coming up, that changes and it moves from practice to training. And the training goes from a point before the tournament to the day of the tournament. And after that, the training ends and I go back to practice. Now, it's just so, there I go. See, I've turned red. Watch this. It's like magic. Oh. Arr. I wish I would pick a better color. I'd like to be green. Why can't I be green? So, in just such a way, when you work with the school, you have both practice and training. And the training usually happens before a test. Or before you make a leap of some sort, if that makes sense. And we actually have patterns for practice and training. And this is the way I recommend everybody more or less work. And it is a pattern based upon the golden mean. It was first figured out by a buddy of mine, a guy by the name of Scott Sonnen, and he made his fame and fortune by using this pattern to design exercise programs. And I'm going to show you what the first one looks like. So let me know when you can all see this.
It's working on it.
Yeah, you guys popped in and then back.
There it is.
There it is. Okay, so here is your practice cycle. It's a 7-day cycle. So you would do this 4 times in a month. On day 1, your practice is light. You might just do your breathing practice. Day 2, your practice is medium. You do your breathing practice, you do some void walking. Day 3 is heavy practice. Heavy practice is where you do serious sitting meditation, serious walking meditation, out there working with the staff, all of this kind of stuff. You break a sweat. And then you go back to light practice. And again, medium practice, then heavy practice. And most important of all, on the 7th day, he rested. Day 7 is recovery. And without that, you will make yourself sick. So the most important thing here is the recovery day. And the recovery day means you just take care of yourself on that day. You relax, you do light stretching, you do some light breathing practice, listen to poetry, whatever you do to recharge yourself. And then after that day of recovery, you're back to day 1 and the next week. And this repeats pretty much every week like this. This is how practice works. Practice is not doing the same stuff, the same intensity every day. It goes in a wave. And this is a double wave, here, here, and then, well, actually, you can't see me doing that. Here's the wave. It goes light, medium, heavy, light, medium, heavy, recovery. And that's what we want. Over and over and over again, as you continue with your practices. And even though what goes on at these various days might be different, and it might be different from week to week, it still follows this cycle. This is the process. And seriously, without this, you make yourself sick. Now, let's see if I can. Here is the cycle for training. You'll notice that it goes from a 7-day cycle to a 4-day cycle. There's a number of reasons for this, but most importantly, you need more recovery time. So you do light, medium, heavy, recovery, and then repeat. And if you're doing this, like for instance, if I were doing this for a fencing tournament, I would arrange it so the tournament happened on my heavy day. So heavy day is like, 80 to 90% exertion. Light day is 30%, medium day is 50%, recovery day is 10%. And this is not something that I would cycle through continuously. This is a terminated program. When you are in training, there is a beginning and an end to it. If you try and stay in training all the time, you will burn out, even with the recovery time. It's just not sustainable in the long run. And that's why we have these 2 cycles that we use. And this is something I don't think I've talked about publicly yet. And yet it is in my estimation, incredibly important.
Yeah, I don't think we have talked about it publicly, but I agree. I think it's crucial that we talk about this.
Yeah.
And what better time than now?
Yep. Yeah, and like I said, this is David's fault. He said something today that just made me go, oh, that's what I need to talk about.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, so thank you, David.
hooray.
So let me get rid of this for the moment. It can come back anytime that we'd like. Any questions on this so far?
Or any thoughts?
Or any thoughts? Yeah.
Dave, what are you thinking about?
It seems sane, and I have seen similar things elsewhere when training and practice is conducted properly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be said about how this kind of echoes the kinds of routines that people develop around physical training.
Yeah, and like I said, I originally learned this from my buddy Scott, and he's been using it for years. This is in part at least the basis of his entire TACFIT program. And I'd like to claim this as ancient teachings, but it is actually modern adaptation, and I adapted it to this kind of work because it works so well. And this probably should have been in the way of the nomad, but it isn't. It'll probably be in the way of the nomad part 2.
Yep. Aaron asks, how many cycles of training do you like to do in preparation for an event?
Depends on the event. Minimum 8 cycles, maximum 10 months. That's the longest I ever did this, and it was what? Probably 7 years ago. And it was because I intended to get into one of the biggest fights of my life. There was a guy who had been hassling me across the internet, and I arranged for him to have an invite to a tournament that he didn't know I was going to be at. And so I trained using this pattern every day, with the idea of I had to be in my best possible shape, because he was an asshole, but he wasn't a mook. He actually had some skills. And so the day of the tournament was my heavy use day, and he showed up and I called him out and he ran away. What you gonna do?
Damn it.
Yeah.
Shucks. What was the discipline that you guys were gonna utilize?
Well, it was a stick fighting tournament.
Yeah.
And so that would have given him an opportunity to have a legal fight that nobody could complain about. It was full contact, fight to most points or submission. And, you know, I figured I would give him the opportunity to prove what he said was true. And sadly, for everybody who showed up, he decided that he was much too sick to fight and had to leave.
Boo.
Which is probably the best possible outcome.
I mean, ultimately, yes. If we're going to be wise about it, absolutely, that's the best outcome. All right. So, I mean, that's an example.
Says bummer. Yeah, a lot of people thought it was a bummer. He was a very arrogant fella.
Gotta love those.
Yeah, but you know, in the day of the internet, people don't consider that their words will have consequences.
Yeah.
But I was much younger then and much more precipitous. I would not do that now. Now I am much more mellow, and I forgive the people who speak ill against me. And then I hire elves to tie knots in their hair at night when they sleep. So now the next question is, how would you apply this to your own life and practice?
Yeah, I mean, we've already mentioned that it can be used for physical activity, but
physical activity is good. So like with Aaron, if you're going up for a belt test, I would do this cycle for 3 months before the test. And I would craft it out so that, you know, on light days, you would be working on very specific things. On the heavy days where you get out there and you do your rolling and, you know, you train to take people to submission. Medium days, you do light rolling with people, and then you have to do your recovery day, which is stretching, yoga, hot tub, all of that sort of thing, the kind of stuff that helps your body recover from the strain. And then make sure that you've timed it so that the heavy day lands on the day of the test. So your body knows that you're going to go on for full exertion on that day. But let's say you are starting out in the school and Noor has given you your first breathing practice. Dun, da, da, da. How would you use this for that?
Is that your dog friend, Mishtak?
No, that is some neighborhood dog. I've never met him. He occasionally doesn't like somebody. All right, so let's go back to let me go back to this.
It's up.
Yeah, I'm just waiting so that I can, I actually want the other one. There. Voila. So you have been given your first breathing practice. Light day. You do it for 3 minutes. Medium day. You do it for 7 minutes. Heavy day. You do it for 15 minutes. Then you cycle back 3 minutes, 7 minutes, 15 minutes. Recovery day, you do not do your breathing practice. You just sit and observe your breathing. That would be how you would do this. Does that make sense?
Aaron says yes. I'm trying to see everyone's faces, but I'm struggling with that right now.
Yeah.
Here we go.
There.
So does that make sense, everyone, now that I can see you? Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Good. Marcelo is waving lights at us.
Yeah.
I like that.
Say yes. Yep. I like that too.
All right. So you have gone on and you have done your practices and we have added to them. And now you have 4 or 5 different practices that you're doing. So in that case, it would look like this. Day 1, you do your breathing practice for, say, 15 minutes. Day 2, you do the void practice for, say, 7 minutes sitting and 15 minutes walking. Day 3, You do the breathing practice, the void practice, walking for half an hour, and then the stick practice. Then you are back. Oh, Nancy's here.
Hi, Nancy.
Hello, Nancy.
Yeah, I forgot the new time.
Oh,
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
I'll catch it on YouTube.
yeah, and we didn't say anything exciting. We saved it for when you showed up.
Thank you.
Yeah, but it wasn't the same without you.
It wasn't the same without you guys.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, hop in, stick around, or see it on the replay.
Yeah,
but
stick
we're
around.
calling it
We
good.
missed you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely sticking around.
Good.
Good. All right. So
So
as you're saying,
then day 4, we're back to light. Just the breathing practice. Day 5, we're at the medium. We're doing the void practice in that same pattern of 7 minutes sitting, 15 minutes walking. Then we have the heavy day again, where you incorporate all 3, the breathing, the void, and the stick practice. And then on day 7, you have recovery. You do light breathing. You don't do the practice per se. You just let yourself be aware of your breathing and how it feels. You let yourself do some stretching of your body. See Dave for all of this. One of these days, he's going to design us a good 9-sided stretching program for recovery days. And then you repeat that. And you can keep repeating this for as long as you need to. Or, you know, when we give you changes in your practices, you just plug them in like that. And even if Noor says to you, I want you to do this every day, it's going to cycle in intensity.
yes. Don't make it a, an OCD kind of thing. You really need to be flexible with this. And this helps create a framework for that to happen.
Yeah. This tricks your OCD into thinking that you're being OCD when you're actually not. Don't tell that part of your brain.
Which we need these days, yeah.
Yes. Now, let's say that you have been working, you're very committed to the work, and you come to Noor and you say to her, oh, my lady,
Yeah.
great Sheikha, oh, font of wisdom, I desire to take initiation within the 9-sided circle. If she says yes, then you're in training.
Dun dun dun.
Ah, funny. Hello, funny.
Glad you made it. Hop in.
So when somebody is ready to take a deeper commitment within the work, there is training involved, because that sort of thing is kind of rigorous, and you want to prepare yourself for it. And that training would take place between the time when Noor says, yes, I will take you on, and she says, now it's time for you to take your initiation. And those will not be the same day. They will not be the same week. They will not be the same month. They might be the same year.
Yep. Especially if you're doing the work,
Especially if you're doing the work.
But doing the work within this healthy routine building framework. Yeah.
So does that make sense? Or I should say, does that make sense to everybody but Funny? Because she's going to have to catch up.
Aaron says yes, and Marcelo says yes. Cool. And oh yeah, Funny. Don't worry about it. I mean, we are just switching to our new time, so it's going to be a little confusing while people make the adjustment, and that's totally okay.
And
No
all of the
worries.
good stuff will be on YouTube in a couple, 3 hours.
Yep.
But we did miss you terribly.
We miss all of you when you're not here.
Yeah.
Each of you, I should say.
Each of all of every one of you.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, asking to take initiation is a commitment. It's a moment that marks a commitment. Especially if I say yes. I mean, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of a milestone. And from then on out, the training becomes important. Yep. And then initiation is another milestone. So.
Yep. And so within the entire process of the work, there is both practice and training. And those will go in cycles too. You'll have a cycle of practice, a cycle of training, a cycle of practice, a cycle of training. And you can take this pattern and you can use it for anything. I mean, I remember sitting around with Scott one afternoon after a workshop he was doing, and I looked at him and I said, you realize that you've given away all of your secrets. And this was when he came out with the first TACFit program, TACFit Barbarian or TACFit Warrior. I forget which one it was. It was one of the very first ones. And it's like, dude, you've given away the secret of how to do TACFit. Anybody can take this and make their own programs. And he said, yeah. And I said, are you not worried that people are going to do that and not buy your stuff? And he said, no. I put it out there so that they can do that if they're go-getters enough. And if not, then I'll do programs that they can do. Consequently, nobody figured out that they could just take his pattern and plug anything into it, and he's done a lot of programs.
That's pretty awesome. Go Scott.
Yeah.
He does good stuff.
He does really good stuff.
Yeah, he does. Aaron says nothing quite like it.
Nope. No, he was an early adopter of a lot of ideas that we now take for granted. He was doing them way before anybody else. And he gave us club bells. And for that alone, he will always have a place in my heart because I do love my club bells.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, he's the guy who created the modern club bell, redesigned it from the Persian meal, made it out of steel instead of wood because it's very expensive to get somebody to turn wood like that and make it both of them weigh identical.
Mm-hmm.
That's like an art. And so he used steel and rubber and all of that stuff to make it easier.
Yeah.
But one of the best pieces of training equipment anybody's come up with in 100 years, as far as I'm concerned, even though people came up with it 3,000 years ago.
Modern spins
off of an ancient technology.
Yeah. So training and practice.
Training and practice. Mustaqim has a question. Can you read that, Noor?
Yeah. Mustaqim says, about the initiation, is it the same with any Sufi order? Is it the same as any Sufi order initiation?
No.
Or is it the same with any? Like I'm guessing the
Yeah.
practices.
And the answer is no to each.
Yeah.
A lot of the tariqas out there, you go, you say, I want to be initiated. They do it the same day. And they don't put you through any of the rigorous stuff. And some orders will take anybody, and some orders will only take the people who really actually belong to them. So it's not the same. There are a few things that are similar, except within the tariqah that we represent, you don't have to swear utter obedience to Noor, which is good because you would be cleaning her house every week.
Wow. Hope you're prepared. Commitments. Well, I mean, you know, joking aside, yeah, that is not what we aim for here.
Nope.
Yeah.
No, obedience is for the other guys. At least obedience to some outside force is for the other guys. We get all the disobedient ones. Hi, Dave. Does that answer your question, Mustaqim?
He nods yes.
Yeah. And so that tells us that if you've fallen in amongst us, you're probably one of the disobedient ones too.
Welcome, oh disobedient ones. Hello, disobedient ones. Yeah. Aw, Dave says, I feel welcomed.
Yes. Yeah, the thing is, it's hard to be disobedient if there's nobody ordering you around.
Gotta have something to rebel against, right?
Yep. But we do expect you, at least from time to time, to wear the official clothing of the order.
The t-shirt and jeans.
The t-shirt and jeans, yeah.
See, I rebel against that because I never wear jeans. At least not these days. So.
Yeah, but you're supposed to redesign that for everybody. Doesn't want jeans.
Yeah. Ooh. Dave says Jester's outfit.
Jester's outfit would be a very good thing. I'm already painting myself red. There it is, doing the magic thing. Look at that, my hand is disappearing. That was fun. So, back to the idea of practice and training. Any questions on this? This would be the time when you could get us to help you set up a more suitable practice for yourself.
Zainab, what do you think? What are you thinking about?
What if you miss a day? For example, you miss your medium day.
Then you missed your medium day. This is not like you're going to be punished or anything, or you have to start over or anything like that. You've missed a day. Pick it up the next day as a heavy day.
Okay.
And of course, we will deduct points from you.
Aaron says, should the way one practices be different than the day one trains, as in the focus of the exercise? I mean, are you doing, here's a question, right? Which I think is related. Are you doing practice and training at the same time, or are those like?
No, when you're doing training, you're doing training, but your practices will be in your training.
Yep.
It's like, so again, let's take, because it's easy to talk about. My fencing practice is, the light days, the medium days, the heavy days. I try and arrange for the heavy days to be the days when I go out and do sparring. And there's that, and it has some of the intensity and some of the less intense. But when I'm in training, I may be doing the same sorts of exercises, but the intensity has gotten deeper.
So is training always a little bit more intense? Like your lightest practice day.
My lightest practice day might still be as light. My heaviest day will be heavier as a rule when I'm in
under training, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pushing myself harder. Yeah, practice tends to be lighter. Training tends to be heavier.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So David, have I answered all of your questions?
No.
No, good. Tell me the questions that I need to answer.
So if you're in training for multiple events at the same time, would you want to make all of your different training things light, medium, heavy on the same days?
Do the events happen on the same day?
No, but say I'm in finals, but I'm also have dance performances. Would I do light schoolwork and light dance on the same day?
Ideally.
Okay.
Yeah, when you are doing things like that, when you have multiple events, you need somebody like Noor or myself to help you with working out what you're doing, because that gets way more complex.
Okay.
All right. So Marcelo says, maybe I missed this part, but would it be a good idea for any practice? I'm thinking as in drum set practice. Is it a universal concept?
Yeah, this is pretty much a universal concept.
And that's definitely not a silly question. Like, it's good
No.
to reiterate that. So thanks for.
No, it's definitely not a silly question. Or if it is, it's a silly question that all of us have asked. So we are all equally silly, which I actually prefer. So yeah, you can use this for anything. Any practice that you do, any training that you do. And one of the nicest things, oh my God, there's a puppy. One of the nicest things is that if you follow these protocols, you tend to never get burned out. And that's the thing that really struck me about them, is that these are burnout preventing protocols.
And in a world where we're all doing 27,000 things, I think that's extra important.
Hello, puppy.
Yeah, this is Batman. This is my roommate's doggy. He's busy staring out the window and growling at other dogs right now. So, but he's a cutie.
He is a cutie.
Any other thoughts or questions? Like, I know you came late, Nancy, but is anything coming up for you?
Well, one peripheral thing, which is Mushtaq mentioned stick as one of the things in the weekly schedule, and I don't know, what do you have some getting started with stick stuff somewhere?
Yes, you have access to that. It's in the Way of the Nomad.
Okay.
Yeah, all of the stick videos are part of the package that you got on that.
Okay. I must have missed the how-to part.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's like a dozen videos that you can access at the site where you can download the videos and such.
Okay.
And it's I think it's episode 4.
Okay, I'll check back if I can't find it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sounds good.
check back. I can point you at it again. But you were a member of the Way of the
Yeah.
Nomad, so you have access to it. You actually own those videos.
Cool. Fanny, I know you came late as well, but I'm wondering if you have any thoughts or questions you'd like to share. I know your video's not working, but you can either chat or use audio if those work for you.
Probably not at this stage. I probably need to watch the recording.
Sounds good. Totally
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, this is stuff that I would really like you to take a look at because it will apply itself to your work.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Look
And
forward to it.
Yeah, and then when Noor starts bossing you around more, you'll have a matrix for that.
Yep.
Great.
Yay. Marcelo, do you want to, how are you doing? I guess you did type out your question, which I appreciate, and that helps us share it with everyone. But do you have anything else you'd like to share?
Yeah, Aaron had a question too that we.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Didn't we? Yeah, we got to that one as
Did
well.
you get to
Thank
that
you.
one? Okay, good.
It's hard for me to write because I can see the image quickly. But thanks for answering my question, and I guess that if I am doing like 3 practices, 4 practices, or whatever, like they should apply to all of them, right? And the medium to all of them.
Aw,
Your audio is
Probably,
breaking up
Yeah.
really bad on this end.
unfortunately. Sorry about that.
Okay, I'm going to write.
Okay. No problem.
Yeah, I think it's just we have a bad connection between here and Argentina.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I blame Trump.
Wiggly doggy. Wiggly doggy. Oh, he's going to get a better mic. Okay.
Ah.
Sounds good.
Okay, in the meantime, let's everybody admire their dog. Say something so the camera's on you.
Hi. Say hello, Batman. He's like, oh, God, why are you doing this? He got to go outside today. He got his nails trimmed yesterday. Got his spiffy little scarf on. Yes. He's I think he's a Schnauzer Chihuahua Terrier mix of some sort. So he's mutt. He's got mutt action going on.
But he's a sweet doggy.
Yes, he's very into the snuggles. And he doesn't chew everything up. We like that too. Yep. He just wants to hide under a blankie or sit on a lap.
Yep. So Dave, what do you think? Have we given you anything useful today?
It's cool. I've used that same protocol or very similar for physical work for a long time, but I use a different model for my other practices, which has been successful for me for many years.
Obviously that model was wrong though, and you must adopt this one.
Hey, I can try it. It's good to have multiple
only
things.
if you want to. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It's working pretty well.
Yeah.
What's the other model?
Well, you sit every single day for a certain amount of period, and it goes up slightly over time, and then every single moment when you catch yourself in thought, you bring yourself out.
Yep, I think different strategies work for different people where they're at and what their proclivities tend to be, their habits. So I think a lot of what we talk about is finding what works for us, but you need to, like Dave obviously has committed to that routine and it works for him. I think the important thing is for us to test things out until we find something that actually works. And that takes a bit of discipline in itself because you gotta have that stick-to-itiveness to really find out, you know, what outcomes are when you apply a given routine or technique. What's on your mind, Mushtaq?
What's on my mind? I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I need to say about this right now. And I think I've said everything I need to say.
Cool. But I mean, it sounds like this is something we are definitely going to revisit. Because,
oh yeah, we are definitely going to revisit that. You know, in the last few days I've been realizing that we're probably going to have to do a Way of the Nomad Part 2, advanced practices. Or in my case, remedial practices.
Ooh. Yep. Yep.
And it will be basically open to anybody who did the first one. And it will be either free or a nominal fee. I'm not sure which yet. Have to talk that over with Noor and see what is going to work for the school.
Yep. Cool. So, I think this is the last call for questions and thoughts. And I know some of you need to catch this on the replay and you can always ask more questions then.
Yep.
As can anyone watching it on YouTube for the first time. It's all good. Just check us out.
Yep. And that's what them comments are for down underneath the videos on YouTube. You can put a question there and we will see it and we will answer it.
Yep.
Eventually. Might not see it for a day or two.
Yes, Marcelo. Oh, that's right. Marcelo, did you get your microphone? Or do you want to use chat? I said I got my down. All right. Okay,
well, yeah, write the stuff out. Send us questions. We love questions.
Oh, he says I got my doubts about comments on YouTube. Oh, why? I don't want, oh, okay. Well, don't worry. We'll work it out.
Yeah.
You don't bother us. You're not.
Yeah, tell you what, if you start to bother us, we'll let you know. Until we say, Marcelo, you're bothering us, you're not bothering us.
Yeah, and that goes for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we live off of questions. Questions are as one of my early teachers said, questions are more important than the answers. So, yes, we want your questions. It will hurt our feelings if we don't get questions, and we hardly ever get questions, so our feelings are always hurt.
Crying.
Yeah, there's crying every day. There's crying. All right, if that's everything, we have gone for our usual time. So we will say good evening to you all, and but before you go, it's time for the commercial.
The commercials, yep.
The commercials. What are we selling this week?
Let's see, what do
We're all out of the Ronco turnip waddler.
Dave says, bring back Red Mush Talk for the commercials.
Yes. Woo, Red Mush Talk, commercial time. I love the way my hand like disappears. Very mysterious.
All right, so one thing we still have going is we still have slots open for the upcoming Enneagram Intensive.
And that's specifically, Marcella, we have a slot for you. There is a slot for you there. We don't care if your English is not as good as ours, because your Spanish is better. Yeah. So it all adds up. And you can type questions, you can just sit and listen. So if you want a slot, you can have a slot, and we'd like you to have one. All we ask is that you're there. And that's going to be coming up as soon as we have the roster of everybody and have gotten in touch with everybody. We will probably put you on a special email list or a Facebook Messenger thing so that we can all talk about when would be the best time for everybody to do this.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. But do remember that within this group, there are at least 7 different languages that are being spoken natively at any time or another. So English is just the lingua franca. It's not even the best one.
All right. Anything else that you can think of?
Yes. You can donate to the school.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so yes, we also have our monthly thing going on, and this month we are doing a raffle for 1 free session with your choice between me or Mush Talk for an hour with us. Or a session. We always say a session because sometimes things might go over. Yeah. So any donations are welcome. Yep. As little or as much as you feel comfortable offering is much appreciated.
And don't forget that anybody who makes any donation, whether it is, the donation should fall between $1 and $1 million. But anybody who donates within the $1 and $1 million range will have access to the Secret Talks with Lady Noor.
Yes. Yep.
Every month we do one, and they're usually based around the Enneagram. And this month is going to be on the Enneagram of the flow state, or Samadhi. Yeah. It's going to be really, really, really good.
So we're
best one ever.
Yeah.
So.
Cool.
There's that. And that's pretty much it. We're putting together some of the courses that we've done, and we're going to be releasing them around Christmas time so that you can give all of your friends our courses, or give all of your enemies our courses. Maybe they'll become your friends.
Yes. Yeah. So we're looking forward to that. Yeah, we have a lot of things that are kind of in development right now, blossoming. So it's an interesting time right now.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So, with no further ado, I am going to stop the camera and say, good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Take care.
Good